I've had an ultra crappy first week of 2015, but Hans, your story about the man having his teeth pulled out with pliers, ugh.
They weren't pulled out, they were pulled off.
Pulled up, like, yeah, like, clink, clink, yeah, like pulled up. Oh. Makes me feel like I have nothing to be upset about, obviously.
Correct.
Can you share some more self-care tips for those of us who have crippling anxiety and other mood disorders?
It sounds helpful.
Number one, get the fuck over yourself. All right? When you go outside, nobody's judging you or caring. All right? If you're worried about what people will think if you walk into that supermarket, just nobody cares. No one gives a fuck. When I figured out that one of the biggest acts of hubris you could possibly do is to assume people give a shit about you, then I was like, wow, okay, so I can just walk in anywhere and nobody really cares, and even if they do,
Correct.
oh well.
Correct.
Perfect. Like, all my anxiety melted away, because, like, honestly, if you think you're on a stage all day, you're not. No one's looking. Everybody's trying to get from one misery to the other. I hate my apartment, so I'm going to go to the job I hate, and then I'm going to go to I'm going to go to this bar I hate and talk about all the time as how I hate it, and then I'm going to hang out with this person who I don't really like, and then I'm going to go to my apartment I don't like, and then it's a cycle going over and over and over again. That's how people live now.
Yeah, it's pretty insane.
So they have no time to look at you and be like, nice shoes. Huh? Like, nobody cares. Nobody cares about
Even
you.
if they do for that 1 second, who gives a shit? It's literally like they blink and then there's some new thing to be fucking, like, to feel something about.
Ric Flair said it best: to beat the man, you've got to be the man. Or to be the man, you've got to beat the man. You've got to be yourself. You've got to be your own dude. And you're weird, and you're probably not very good looking, and you smell, and you can't fuck worth a lick, and girls don't like you. And you've got to own that. I own that, and it bore fruit, because I just described myself, and I love it. I'm who I am, man. I'm staring at a library of VHS tapes right now. It's so dorky and terrible, and people see that and they think I'm poor, but it's okay. It's fine. It's cool. You have crippling anxiety, like, really, like, you have, like, you check, you type of dude who checks like 10 times to make sure your apartment's locked, stuff like that. And that's like a disorder, like, and you're fucked up.
But at the same time, people say they have crippling anxiety, and I don't doubt that crippling anxiety exists. Like, I'm sure it does. But
yeah.
All right, maybe it's just me, but if I had something that was literally stopping me from doing my life, like the basics of my life, I would be doing every weird thing under the sun to make it not happen. I'd be doing like EMDR and like fucking like holotropic breath work and all like shit like that, just to be like, oh, well, I got to try to do something to make this not happen. There is a certain, like, personal pornography in saying things like I have crippling anxiety.
Yeah, absolutely.
And it's, maybe you do, I don't know, but I'd say statistically you probably don't. You probably feel anxious, which is what everyone does. That's, like, part of being human, so it's all right.
Yeah, don't let, I mean, everybody needs a diagnosis now, and chances are you don't have one. You're just anxious, and you're like, oh, I can never go there. I don't, or you're nervous to hang out with new people, or
Well,
you're
let's do
going
this
to...
then. Like, let's speak EMDR. I just brought it up a second ago. It's that eye movement shit that like quacks say help.
Yeah.
If this is that crippling, then commit to spending $150 every single week on this.
Yeah.
That's it. Problem solved. And if you look at that and you're like, oh, $150 is like a lot of money to spend on. Well, then I think you might have to go back and look and see, am I actually crippled, or do I just not feel good?
Yeah. I think you'll be all right. I think
you'll be fine.
And at the same time, I've been through all that shit, and I'm not, like disavowing your, deep sacred, disease or whatever you have. But I'm also saying that's very silly, and you should, be okay with the fact that maybe you don't have a lot of money, and maybe you don't think you're very good looking, and everything will be okay.
Yeah.
Stop thinking about where am I going to be in 5 years? Oh, oh god, like Generation X and the Boomers have set it up for me that I could never excel or do anything with my life. I mean, if you posted this question from a phone or a computer, like, you're doing right.
For real, like, unless this came in by carrier pigeon,
Yeah,
it has like blood on the label.
Unless you're using the PC at the library because you're homeless, like, you're doing all right.
Yeah, it's all right.
You're all right. You're probably on the family plan. You're good. Don't worry
There's
about
another thing too, and I said this a couple days ago on the other site. So if I'm doing broken record shit, I apologize. Feeling bad is a part of life. It's okay to feel bad. It's natural to feel bad. When you try to not feel bad, you're actually acting unnatural. Like, you feel bad sometimes. That's it. Sometimes you feel good, and sometimes you don't. The bad feelings have just as much a right to be there as any good feelings you have. And they're not going to go... It's not like there's going to be a point in your life where you're like, oh, I've completed this checklist, and I no longer feel bad. Like, it's a fucking weird thing to do. Like, it's not like it's a game that doesn't end. You just keep going and going. It's like Monopoly, except the bank never runs out of money. It just keeps, like, get piling in. So, rather than constantly have this battle to feel good, and then when you feel good, feel anxiety because you know you're not going to feel good anymore, and then you have to, like reach for it, and it gets further away, like this whole ridiculous thing. Just embrace feeling bad sometimes. Just sit there in a room and understand that you don't feel good and, like, explore the feeling and be like, oh, well, this is really what it feels like to be bad. If I don't want to feel like this anymore, here are a list of 5 ideas that I can implement in my life to maybe cut this off at the pass. And if I feel it again, then I feel it again, and I'll make a list of 5 more ideas and keep going with that. Your bad feelings have every right to be there. Like pain you feel, or like when you're standing up straight and you want to slouch, but you're in a situation where you can't. Like your midsection hurting, that pain has every right to be there. Like, deal with it. It happens. It's all right. Everything ends. Just chill out.
Or you could listen to hot water music.
Or you can listen to hot water music and try and write that novel. Never really get it off the ground, but have ideas kicking around.
Get that moleskin, baby. Right now, I'm formulating plans. I've got this book going, man. Don't stop the feeling. Remember that hot water music song, man? Don't stop the feeling.
Yeah. So those are your options. You have hot water music, or you can, like, get to know yourself better.
Or what are the newer bands that are causing feels, man?